I don't wish I waited. We needed the car. Dang it. No! Well, they did it. They finally did it. They listened to my request. Only took them 3.5 years. Maybe some more demand levers needed to be pulled, but finally, finally, Tesla revived the best trim of the Model 3 that ever existed. They discontinued it shortly after deliveries began in 2017. The last long-range rear-wheel drive Model 3s that were available in the US were stopped being made near the end of 2018. And for years and years and years, I've kept begging and asking them, suggesting that, guys, look, so many people, especially EV buyers, are living in places where they don't need all-wheel drive. EVs are already plenty fast. They go very quick. We don't need dual motor setups on every single Model 3. Why can't you just include the same long-range battery pack that you offer in the performance and all-wheel drive, but just take out that front motor? Make the vehicle lighter, make it cheaper, make it more efficient, maximize your range, and make it more affordable. And especially now with the federal tax credit, this model is honestly so hard to beat. Not just in the Tesla lineup, but all EVs are going to have a hard time competing with this deal, in my opinion. And even outside of the EV field, this range of 363 miles actually puts it pretty close with a lot of gas vehicle ranges these days. And the huge win of having that long-range battery pack is it allows you to charge at 250 kilowatts. But with getting 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, this honestly makes the new rear-wheel drive Model 3 arguably one of the fastest charging EVs on the market if you consider miles per hour rating. This is the Panasonic battery pack because it qualifies for the federal tax credit. That means the charging curve on it should be great. And at 250 kilowatts, that translates to well over 1,100 miles per hour, which you are straight up just not going to find in the Model Y. You're not going to find in the Model S or X. And this is only really possible when you have a super streamlined, super aerodynamic, super efficient vehicle that also has a decent sized battery pack. We're pretty sure this one has about 80 kilowatt hours. And thanks to that federal tax credit knocking $7,500 off the already lower price because it's not all-wheel drive, not only is this the fastest charging Tesla and one of the fastest charging EVs on the market, it's also the cheapest. That's the hardest part to believe about all this, is it kind of addresses the two biggest concerns most people have with electric vehicles. People are worried about range and pricing, and now, after the federal tax credit, assuming you qualify for it, the rear-wheel drive Model 3 starts at a little over $35,000. And because of that tax credit qualifying, it actually is now cheaper than the lithium iron phosphate rear-wheel drive Model 3. Because that's an imported battery pack, I honestly don't understand why it's still in the lineup. Like, I suppose it's nice to have as an option if you don't qualify for the federal tax credit. Maybe it's good for leasing deals. If people are leasing their car, then it does technically qualify, so you can get the LFP Model 3 for under $300 a month on lease. But honestly, for the vast majority of people out there that do qualify for the federal tax credit, this thing is so hard to beat. And I'm a fan of lithium iron phosphate, by the way. I drive an LFP Model 3, and I think that the range is plenty, and I love that I can charge it to 100% every single day. But truth be told, at 363 miles of range for this new Model 3 trim that they just brought back, even if you charge it to 80% every day, that's still 290 miles, okay? That's still more than you can get from charging an LFP Model 3 to 100% every single day. And even if you're worried about battery degradation, you could have 25% battery degradation on this new long-range Model 3 and still have the same amount of range as an LFP Model 3 has on day one, which, by the way, LFP still degrades just at a slower rate. So I feel like a lot of the advantages of LFP kind of dwindle away when your range numbers are this good. It still gets a 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds, which is excellent. That actually makes it faster than my Model 3. I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe it's the battery pack being able to output more power, but at least according to Tesla's website, the long-range rear-wheel drive is the exact same weight as the LFP rear-wheel drive, which doesn't really make sense to me. I wonder if they're just translating a bunch of numbers over and they're just taking orders for it now, but they don't have the official curb weight yet. But knowing that the cheapest Tesla has 363 miles of range and also can support 250 kilowatt fast charging, that just makes it such an incredible deal. Not to mention, it's got the ventilated seats, it's got the ambient lighting, you know, that whole updated interior and exterior that is still not made made its way over to the Model Y yet. Yeah, pretty much the very few complaints I could see anybody really having with this car. You know, it's cheaper than your average sedan before even factoring in gas savings. It's fast, it's got a ton of range, it'll recharge fast, it's got the NACS port already. Only possible complaints I could really see people having is it's a sedan and they want more storage space. The fact that the Model 3 is not a hatchback is a deal breaker for many people out there. And I suppose the lack of gear stock. Some people complain quite a bit about having to press the blinker buttons on the side. I've tried it myself, and I do agree that, you know, for the most part, you get used to it when you're changing lanes on the freeway or making a turn. But if you go through roundabouts a lot or you're navigating a tight parking lot, then it can get kind of annoying to make hand-over-hand motions and try to find those blinker buttons. It just takes some getting used to. I definitely wouldn't consider it a deal breaker. If I was in the market today, oh my god, absolutely, I'd be all over this car. So many great features packed into such a great price. And should you consider opting for the long-range all-wheel drive? Maybe if you live in a colder climate, but keep in mind, snow tires can also get the job done on a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Also, Tesla has been communicating with lots of people out there that the rear-wheel drive vehicles have the partial premium interior, which just means they take out a few speakers. I've been using the partial premium interior for the past couple years, and I still think, even without all of the additional speakers activated, the sound system is incredible in Tesla's vehicles. And I've listened to the full premium sound system and the partial premium sound system. There's slight differences, but if you're not coming from an existing Tesla, I highly doubt you'd notice. Personally, I wouldn't take it into consideration that much because everybody I've shown the sound system to in my car is usually very impressed by it. And you can save yourself $5,000 by just not going for the all-wheel drive variant, and you get more range, which I genuinely believe because the weight is probably down thanks to that whole front motor just being taken out, and the aerodynamics are the same as the rear-wheel drive. So I'm inclined to believe that this is a under 4,000 pound EV that they were able to stuff 80 kilowatt hours into, and thanks to the refresh of the Highland UI, you're just getting a much more aerodynamic shape. So this beats out the Ioniq 6 range, and unlike the Ioniq 6, you will have a much easier time ordering one of these things. There's so many different trims of the Ioniq 6 you gotta play around with to find a dealer that actually has the highest range model, which is the high in demand model, so there's usually more markups and stuff. But this one you could just order straight from Tesla's website, and I know I've said some negative things about Tesla, but at least on paper, this thing is gonna be a really hard deal to beat, not just for other legacy companies, but startups as well. What do you guys think? If you're in the market for a sedan, I feel like there's really no better vehicle on paper. They've increased the build quality and sound quality quite a bit on these refreshed Model 3s as well. Here's hoping they age quite a bit better. And is anybody out there considering ordering one? In my opinion, the cheapest Tesla is usually the best one, and in this case, it's absolutely true. You really have to ask yourself, how badly do you need all-wheel drive, or how badly do you need a Model Y? If you can afford to wait, I would highly recommend it because the Model Y refresh is probably 6 to 7 months away at this point. So all your thoughts, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again, have an excellent rest of your day.